Hi, welcome to Authentic Living. I am Dawn Janice. So, when we talk about living authentically, part of that is knowing yourself well enough and loving yourself enough to trust your instincts, your intuition, your body, and you as a whole, loving and trusting yourself. Today, I interviewed Helen Birney. She's a special friend of mine. And she has created programs for those of us to learn how to trust ourselves and to get off the scale and into life. The energetic eating method is one of her programs, and the energetic way. It's all about our energy. It's all about who we are being. And I love the story that she's going to tell you about the scale. Stay tuned. Don't miss this story. Here's Helen Birney.
I believe that we don't have to diet in order to achieve the health of our dreams. And I spent 20 years in and out of yo yo dieting, making my diet declarations as early as 10 years old. I remember standing up in front of my fifth grade class and saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, and like drawing a picture and writing it down. And it's one of those things you put up like on the bulletin board. And at that time, I was really surrounded by so much diet culture. If you, those of you who are listening, remember the 90s, the Jenny Craig, the Weight Watchers, the Slim Fast, all of that was just like all the rage back then, and was definitely the dominant idea in my own home. So I was pretty much just following the grown-ups in my life that, oh, losing 10 pounds is what we do. It's what we do. And that idea continued on for me for 20 years, weight fluctuations, 40 pounds up, 40 pounds down for a really long time until I decided that I wasn't going to diet anymore. And I was just going to start to listen to my own internal compass and the things that I really cared about in my life.
Beautiful. I feel like this is a new message for a lot of us because I too grew up with, at least starting in the 80s. It became really popular when I was in college to,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, actually be bulimic. That was a thing to do. It was just extremely unhealthy in so many ways. And
Yeah.
not only did I not lose the weight, but I gained, like you were saying, that 40 pounds. And my skin suffered greatly. Went through depression bouts because of it. And I really despised the way my body looked instead of loving who I am.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And that not having that self-love because of the what we're surrounded by and what we think we need to do can lead us down some pretty dark places, right? Led me into alcoholism, into drug addiction, into relationships that didn't serve me, into a lot of, like self-harm in external ways because I wasn't happy with my body and because I felt like I couldn't even diet right. So why even try?
And it's just like so, it's such a cultural thing. The whole diet culture, like you said, it's been going on for a while. Even when I was a child, like in the 60s, it was still a thing, even though women really didn't eat protein back then.
Yeah.
um, and they certainly didn't work out a lot. But then then the pendulum swung. All of a sudden, not only was I watching my weight, but I had to have muscles and look a certain way. I had to have my
Mhm.
butt had to be a certain size and my legs had to look a certain way and I had to have,
Mhm.
muscular upper body. So we go through stages of what we're supposed to look like in this culture, and it's so wrong.
Yeah, yeah. We go through what we're supposed to look like instead of who are we supposed to be. And so when we think about going on a journey of health without dieting, a lot of people think like, oh, accept all of the foods you eat, accept all of the body sizes, like a lot of acceptance over these things and just, choose whatever. But for me, it's not choose whatever, it's choose whatever's in alignment with how you want to feel and how you want to be in the world. It's not just whatever, like, oh, let's just accept everything. That's not what it's about. It's about if I'm going to be the version of myself that I want to be, then there's a certain way, and I call this the triad of health, the way that I'm going to think about myself the way that I'm going to feed myself, and the lifestyle I'm going to live that's going to help honor the person that I want to be in the world. And that person might be, you know, a six-figure CEO who's speaking on TEDx stages, writing a book. It might be the dedicated mom to my two kids. That person might be, you know, a really good friend who really wants to show up for somebody in a hard time. Whatever that is, we get to generate the energy through the thoughts that we have, the foods we're eating, the lifestyle we live in order to be that person. It's not about complacency and just acceptance. It's accepting who you are, of course, but fighting for who you are,
Mm.
fighting for who you are.
So when you say fighting, who are we fighting? What are we fighting?
The noise, the diet culture noise. We're
Yes.
fighting against the temptation to say, I need to count everything. I need to weigh myself. I need to find the macros. I need to find the faster way. I need to find the point system. All of these ways that we micromanage ourselves and instead say, I need to find myself through
Mm.
health. So the journey that I guide my clients on through 12 weeks of working together is really exploring, who am I as the healthiest version of myself, and how does taking care of my health lead me to the dreams that I have for myself. And we start to make these deliberate connections between the choices I'm making with the life that I want to live. And that always wins 100% of the time. But what we're taught to do instead is to say, we need the faster way, we need the counting way, we need the easy way.
Mm.
Right? Like we're stressed out. So these diets prey on the fact that we are stressed out and we want something direct and easy. And so what I always tell women who I'm working with is that you have two choices. You can say, okay, give me direct and easy, give me the meal plan, give me the app, give me the macro count, give me the calories. That seems easy right now, but that's a system that you have to adhere to for the rest of your life versus taking a period of time, a very short period of time, 12 weeks, learning how to make decisions and choices for yourself that honor you. So you actually never have to rely on anything except for a simple yes or no from yourself. So what's easier, having an app or counting something for the rest of your life, or saying yes or no,
Uh,
knowing the right choice in any given moment, right?
that sounds much more doable to me to say yes
Yeah, yes.
to what
Yeah.
might feel right for me in that moment.
Yeah. And it's not easy for us to figure out how to do that. Right. So that's why we have life coaches and health coaches and people that help you get out of decision fatigue so that you know what to do for yourself. Um, I know for me, it took 20 years. So let's not take 20 years to do something and take 12 weeks and then be able to make those choices for the rest of your life.
Yes, and it sounds really interesting and exciting to hear that this is customized to the individual. So
Mhm.
the work that you do is all about being authentic to who we are, one person at a time, because nobody's exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And instead of setting a weight loss goal, for example, we might set a like a life goal, something that you want for yourself, and then you can prove that you can get it by having these four components that are the components of my program that I teach women how to feel. Like we don't know how to feel, right? But we can definitely feel these four things. So there's the things we complain about, the things that we don't like, and the things that are hard for us. It's our mood, right? How many of us are like, God, I'm in such a crappy mood today, or I'm about to get my period. My mood is all off kilter. Or our digestion, like, oh God, I'm so gassy and bloated today, or my stomach feels distended and I don't feel well, or I haven't pooped today, or whatever. Or our focus, right? Our brain fog, how we're like, oh my gosh, like I just can't think. I'm just unfocused today, or our energy levels, up and down energy levels, that 2 p.m. dip, or feeling like you can't sleep at night. So we can feel those things, and those become our measurement of, is what I'm doing working for me and helping me live out my best life today? If any of those things are off, then we know that something we're doing isn't working, and we get to be the owners of that, and we get to own that and then learn, well, what are the components of my nutrition and my lifestyle that are going to help me restore balance to those pieces? Because I want to live and I want to feel good and I don't want to complain about any of that stuff anymore. The less complaints I have about my body, the more I can focus on the things that are most important to me.
That's beautiful. I think we're all on board for that. So what you do is you help us connect our health to the most important parts of ourselves through
Hmm.
self-discovery.
Yeah.
So I love what you say, and this is one of my favorite things that Helen says, and it's you tell women to get off the scale and into their lives. What do you mean?
Mhm. So this was about 7 or 8 years ago, and I had just finished my studies in integrative nutrition. This is my big dirty secret that I had decided at that point, actually, that I wasn't thin enough to start coaching, and that people weren't going to want to work with me unless I lost another 10 pounds. So here I was deciding that I'm going to take every component from all of the things that I learned from nutrition, because you learn all of these different ways of helping your metabolism and kickstarting and hormone health and gut health. And like, okay, I'm going to take it all, I'm going to pile it all on. And I'm going to do keto, intermittent fasting. I'm going to macro count and I'm going to count my calories. I'm going to do everything to see if I can get these last 10 pounds. Like, I wouldn't even sign up to get my professional pictures done unless this happened.
Oh,
It's a true story. And this is somebody who I hadn't worked on the mindset piece or connecting the idea that loving myself and thinking about my life worth living was a part of how I can treat myself with foods and lifestyle. At this point, it was still just, what am I going to do to get that weight down? And now I know all this stuff, so I'm going to do it. So I follow through with it, and I started getting these pains in my right side every single night and sweating and this like pain that radiated into my heart. And I swear I thought I was having a heart attack every night. And I knew that what I was doing was not working for my body, but I wanted to do it anyway because I wanted to step on that scale and I wanted to see it budge. And I see women go through this today with various different diets that they're going on. I just saw in a support group the other day many women who are talking about hair loss from taking the Wegovy shot, or the amount of stomach issues that they're going through, and they're like, I'm just going to power through until I get to my goal weight. I know what that's like. I wasn't doing this in shot time. So back, this is a different time that we're living in right now, but I know what it's like to do everything while you're putting your own physical and emotional needs to the side in order to try to get that number down. And so I stepped on the scale. My best friend came over. She stepped on the scale too. Neither one of us had a loss. She was following some other diet. I don't know what she was doing. I was doing my own thing. And we were like, F this. So we picked up the scale. We walked outside, and another neighbor happened to be driving by. We waved her down and we asked her to run over the scale with the car. And we were like, yes, we screamed, we hooted and hollered, and we jumped up and down. And it was smashed into like a bazillion pieces. My wife and my wife at the time and my best friend's husband thought we were nuts and insane, but whatever. And I haven't stepped on the scale since. And the result of doing that is that I stopped focusing on a number when I'm eating and making lifestyle changes, and instead focusing on what am I doing right now that is a loving action for myself. Sometimes it's a little ice cream with my kids. Sometimes it's opting into salads for lunch. And it depends on how I'm feeling in the moment and how I want to feel so that I get what I want out of my life.
I love it. And you're putting an energy, you're assigning an energy to what you're consuming. Like, this is fun, or this is relaxing,
Mhm.
instead of, I'm drinking this glass of wine because I feel like crap, I had a bad day. It's like such a negative thing to attach to wine. Whereas if I was going to have a glass of wine with you because you're in town, and this is the first time we've seen each other in person and it's exciting, that's a whole different energy that I'm assigning to that food.
It is. It is for sure. The quality and the energy of the thoughts that you're having, even when you're eating and about what you're eating, change the way that it's even metabolizing in your body. So, absolutely, it wouldn't be a slippery slope. Well, I don't drink at all, but so I'll have a non-alcoholic glass of wine with you when I visit you. Um, but what was I going to say about that? So, but yes, so the energy that I am deriving from what it is, the choices that I'm making is going to help me feel amazing in my life overall. And actually, with the drinking thing, the reason that I don't drink is because I couldn't trust myself around alcohol. And so that was something that I had to say, that's just not something that's ever bringing in a positive energetic quality into my body or into my life. And so it's a no-go for me, at least for the last 11 years. It's still day by day. But
I would agree with you on that,
yeah.
actually. It was just an example, but it's rarely does alcohol have a positive vibe to it. It really rarely does. So there's other reasons that we numb ourselves out usually, and they're not usually positive reasons.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
100% with you on that one. It's taken me a long time to learn that, but I am learning that. So I'm with you on that. So yeah, we'll have I don't know, we'll have a healthy I don't know, carrot juice. I'm into that lately. So let's just do that.
Oh, carrot juice. I haven't had that in a long time. I'll have that.
Carrot and celery juice. It's actually really good. If you guys haven't tried it, don't knock it yet. It's pretty good. So awesome. So you have a beautiful story. I love this scale smashing story. I think that sounds like something I'll do this week is I'll just go run over my scale because I'm tired of it anyway. But so health is about living authentically, not about a number. Is that what you're telling us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Once I stopped making it about the number, other parts of my life really started opening up. And I would say it was about 5 years of really teaching myself and teaching other women to make health not about a number until I realized that health is also so much more than that. So it's the physical parts of ourselves, it's the emotional parts of ourselves, it's the way that we're living our life. And I spent the better time of my health coaching career really teaching women how to feel empowered towards the choices for health. And how it's changed for me in even the last 2 years is that when you can choose a lifestyle as a baseline for yourself, then you can go through anything. And so while I had what felt like a grounded, settled life to be able to make healthy choices and to be able to create a life for myself, all of a sudden, all of that fell apart. It fell apart because I went through divorce. I got Lyme disease that triggered a manic depressive disorder, a neurological issue in my brain. I had a big move. There were a lot of things that happened, but what I could rely on day in and day out were the components of health that I had brought myself through and that I've brought my clients through. And I can tell you about some of the things that they've found about themselves too. Um, that you don't give up on yourself. So once you can install these habits and this habitual way of thinking about yourself and your life, it doesn't mean that crappy things aren't going to happen. It doesn't mean that you're never going to have a health challenge. It doesn't mean that, that that you're not going to experience loss or grief or pain. It doesn't mean any of that. But what it does mean is that you're going to be able to freaking get through it. And you're
Mm.
going to be able to get through it without relying on old habits that would have derailed you. And then you don't have another thing to think about. The fact that I don't have to sit here and think about whether or not I'm going to work out or whether or not I'm going to eat well or whether or not I'm going to take care of myself today is because I spent time and energy making sure that my body was ready for the war that was the last 2 years. We can teach ourselves the components of health in any given moment that are going to not just relieve us of diet culture feelings, but prepare us for some of the things that we don't even know are going to happen in our life.
Yes. Somebody that's gone through the loss of a child 2 years ago, I can tell you that that has been truth. That's been truth for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing what was coming, of course, we don't know. Like you went through those terrible things that you didn't know were coming either. But to have that as a base and a pillar of strength within us already helps us get through it without, like you were saying, going back to old habits that are destructive, possibly
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
we've learned to overcome already. So thank you for sharing that. It's definitely rings true for me. So how do we get there? Is it does it happen overnight? And I know the answer to that, but I'd like to hear your take on that.
No, definitely doesn't happen overnight. But the process that I take my clients through is really strengthening what I call this triad of health. So the thoughts that we have about ourselves, our nutrition, our lifestyle. And when we can strengthen that triad, we can start to focus on the things that matter most to us because our health and our bodies don't become a distraction. And it's through this process of being super aware of catching yourself in the moments where you're having negative thoughts about yourself, or you're not focused on the things that drive you or motivate you in your life, or you start to make unconscious choices. I call the eating that we do, energetic eating, making conscious choices for ourselves and for our health. When we start making unconscious choices, or we start losing the lifestyle habits that really help keep us alive, and we start losing some of those things, it's not about giving yourself a hard time and saying, oh, I didn't do those things, slap on the wrist. It's more, okay, so I'm losing this right now. What's going on for me? And how can I repair it as soon as possible so that I don't lose more parts of myself?
So beautifully said. Because tragedy does happen. I mean, we are human beings that we're fragile and we're going to go through trials.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we're living a healthy lifestyle and we're in good shape and all these things, and maybe the scale says what you want it to, doesn't mean you're not gonna go through challenges in life. Um, but to have that base, it's so supportive. And it's not just the base of health and habits, but also community.
Yeah, community is such a huge component of the programming that I'm in. And one of the things that I love to do with my clients is we go on a 12-week journey together, but at the end of it, there's options to stick around. So our community just continues to grow with women who have the same ideas about health and continues to be a support place. So all of my alumni get to kind of stay in this container together so that they can thrive and continue to do the work, because it's a journey. It's not an end goal. So I can teach what I know and help my clients overcome so many different barriers in 12 weeks. But it's up to us to continue to apply those components to our life, how we think, eat, and live, and balancing out our systems by thinking about our mood, digestion, focus, and energy levels, and focusing on what's important, all of those things together for the rest of our lives.
One of the things that I love that I know that you do, and that is you really focus on movement with your tribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have a running group, correct?
Yep, I have a running group and a strength training group. Yeah, I call it's energetic way to 5K, which includes mindset. And also it's a way of finding how you'll reach a 5K distance from your own body. So I use a walk run methodology, but the expectation isn't that you're going to run a 5K at the end, though certainly many of my clients will and do and go on to do more. But the expectation is, how can I find the distance and the walk run intervals that work for my body, and what are the messages I'm sending myself in order to be able to get there and not give up on myself. And that's a lot of those components are my strength training as well. We use a lot of mantras and affirmations in that in order to be able to get through it and to speak kindly to ourselves.
That's just beautiful. I've been pretty sedentary for the last few years and just started moving again. And I can tell you it is changing me quickly
Mm-hmm.
in a very
Mm-hmm.
positive way to be able to go outside, go for a walk, connect with nature, other people that are obviously doing the same thing. And it's like we know each other, but we don't, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's just connection. Getting out and moving is connection.
Yeah. Especially when you're getting outside and feeling the elements, like we go in rain or shine or snow when we do the running group. And there's something about experiencing all of that and not holding back from excuses about the way the environment is. That's kind of a metaphor for life, right? Like, I'm going to go out anyway. I'm going to feel something today. I'm going to move through it. And on the other side of it is like complete peace.
Yeah. And it's once again not about the doing, it's about being. So when we're moving, what are we engaging in? Are we, like you said before, looking at your numbers, or are
Mm-hmm.
we enjoying what we're doing?
Yeah, the more we can release target goals like step goals and instead really drop into our bodies and say, what is this moment or what is this run or what is this lift or what does this walk have to offer me right now, the more we get to connect with ourselves and the more it actually helps us make more conscious choices in our life. I find that women who are really attached to step goals or to calorie counts or to trackers, they've lost a sense of trust in themselves to make the right decision. And it's more about whether or not this thing is telling me if I've done a good job.
Wow.
And we get to know whether or not we're doing a good job because of our own internal messaging. We just miss it because we're looking for that validation externally.
Oh my gosh, that is powerful. So it's about our trust in ourselves
Yeah.
and learning to trust ourselves through practice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a practice. It's still a practice for me. Every single day. Moving into a new house and learning how to cook in a new kitchen, definitely a practice. Like it doesn't come easy all of the time. And we get to use those moments as opportunities to learn instead of moments to say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to order out every single night, or it doesn't really matter. Or, oh, I'm going through a really hard time. No, I moved and it's an opportunity for me to learn how to take care of myself in a new space and rising to that occasion and doing it. Why? Because I want to feel good.
Yeah, awesome. I know that you've seen a lot of other women go through transformations with your programs. Can you tell us about some of them?
Yeah. So typical diet program will show like a before and after picture, right? And I've actually my clients they do tell me they're like, "Do you want me to send you an after picture?" I'm like, it's a little, hard to in the messaging that I give because that's not what I'm about, but with the excitement that women have over their transformation also comes with the transformation of self. So repairing relationships that have been really struggling in their life, going through, following through. I've had two women who have gotten out of emotionally abusive relationships. I've had women go through hardship like loss of pregnancy. I've had women go through gaining a pregnancy. I've had women go through thinking that they were not going to ever be able to run more than 3 miles to signing up for a half marathon.
Mhm.
So we have these beliefs about ourselves that tend to keep us stuck. And my job is to expand your vision of yourself and reinstall the beliefs in yourself that you can have whatever you want when you take care of yourself.
I love that. We can have whatever we want.
You can have whatever you want. You want it, you can have it. You can 100% have it.
Yes.
You definitely have it. And the only way that you might be standing in your way might be giving yourself old stories about what your body needs to look like or how it needs to be in order to get it, or what you need to be eating, or, and those negative thought patterns continue to keep us stuck in cycles of self loathing, cycles of wanting to diet, cycles of wanting to weigh ourselves instead of living our lives.
Yes, you're talking about self with a capital S.
Yeah.
This person that when you look in the mirror, you see the image of self.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a human being who we should love first and
Mm-hmm.
most before we can actually love others and the world.
Yeah.
So, putting that person, that self with a capital S first, is important, and
Mm-hmm.
to trust her instincts, to trust her intuition, and to
Yeah.
trust her that it's okay that she's this weight right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
just fine. She's supposed to. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And perhaps that reason is that you have a chance to ask yourself some really big questions about what do I really want? What do I really want for myself? And how does the universe want me to be? And if you feel like you're out of alignment with that at all, then the biggest job isn't to lose the next 10, 20, 30 pounds. The biggest job is to decide how the actions you're taking are helping you live out the life that you want to live. The way it'll come naturally. So if that's a struggle, right? It certainly was for me. But what naturally came to happen when I let go of the rigid rules and routines of dieting is that my body became something that I loved and that I was proud of without having to look at a number. It just sort of started happening for me.
And our
And
body responds. Our
the
body,
body responds.
yeah.
And it takes a little time, but once your body trusts you, then you get what you want.
And that's what it's all about. Helen, thank you so much for sharing what you do, your beautiful journey, the story about the scale, all the above with us today, because those that are listening, I know you needed to hear this today. And I want to thank you for showing up for us and showing us the way by showing up for yourself. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dawn.
All right, everybody. You'll be able to reach Helen with the information that I post below this video or this podcast. And thank you for showing up for yourself today for authentic living. See you next time.